Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're zeroing in on one of the most instantly recognizable, yet honestly deeply misunderstood cultural performances on the entire planet, the Haka. We're going to journey to Aotearoa, that's New Zealand, to uncover how this extraordinary tradition evolved from ancient tribal life into this incredibly powerful, living cultural expression.
Which brings us to a big, provocative question. Is the Haka just a war dance? Look, it's a completely fair assumption, right? Because for millions of people around the globe, their very first encounter with the Haka happens staring at a TV screen, usually just moments before a massive international rugby match. You see these absolute powerhouse athletes lined up, performing these incredibly intense maneuvers, and, well, it's super easy to jump to a specific conclusion. You might think, oh, this is exclusively designed to intimidate the other team. But I really want to challenge that assumption right here, right now. Because if we reduce this incredible tradition to just a pre-game ritual or a battle cry, man, we are missing out on a ridiculously rich and beautiful tapestry of human expression.
Okay, let's dive into this. The popular belief is that the Haka is purely a war dance, a tool for sports intimidation, or just a cool pre-game ritual. But the cultural reality? It's completely different. The Haka is actually a living, breathing expression of Māori identity. It's this profound showcase of history, courage, and unity. It's used to process deep, profound grief, to elevate massive celebrations, and to demonstrate absolute respect. That aggressive sports novelty myth we're also used to, it barely scratches the surface of what this multifaceted cultural expression truly is.
To really grasp the reality of the Haka, we've got to start right at the source, Aotearoa. That is the authentic Māori name for New Zealand. The Haka originates entirely with the Māori, the indigenous Polynesian people who bravely navigated the oceans and settled in New Zealand centuries ago. And you know, grounding ourselves in this authentic terminology is absolutely essential. We're not just talking about a spot on a map here. This is the literal birthplace of a culture that has preserved its incredible heritage across generations. To understand the Haka is to basically understand the beating heart of the Māori people and their enduring, unbreakable connection to Aotearoa.
So when we look back at ancient tribal life, we see its true versatility. And yeah, sure, preparing warriors was a factor, for sure. But it was also used for welcoming important guests with immense honor, celebrating massive tribal achievements, and honoring the ancestors who came before them. It marks really significant ceremonies. And perhaps most powerfully of all, it's used to mourn loved ones, channeling this profound grief into a huge collective physical and vocal release. The Haka is ultimately about strengthening community bonds. Honestly, the sheer variety of these distinct emotional purposes proves that, contrary to popular belief, no, not every Haka is meant for war. There are so many different forms, and every single one carries its own deeply specific meaning and emotional weight.
So how exactly does the Haka actually convey all these complex emotions? Well, it all comes down to the physical movements. Now, to the untrained eye, it might just look like a flurry of intense, chaotic motion. But in reality, every single action serves as a highly specific, powerful storytelling device. It's like a finely tuned instrument. Let's break down the anatomy of this performance. Look at how beautifully complex this is. First off, the foot stomps. These aren't just guys making noise. Strong foot stomps actively symbolize deep determination and being firmly grounded to the earth. Second, we have the powerful hand gestures. Every strike, every movement of the hands and arms is specifically designed to emphasize the spoken words being delivered. Third, the facial expressions, the wide eyes and the protruding tongue. And I know, this is often the most striking part for viewers. This specific anatomy communicates absolute courage, defiance, intensity, or the readiness to face any challenge head-on. And finally, the chant itself. The chant is what tells the story. Whether the Haka is celebrating life, remembering a tragic loss, expressing deep gratitude, or uniting people for a shared purpose, all of these anatomical elements synchronize to deliver a cinematic and just overwhelmingly powerful emotional message.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it brings us to a truly legendary piece of history. When most people think of the Haka, whether they actually know it by name or not, they are usually picturing one specific composition known as kamate. This is, without a doubt, the world's best-known Haka. And get this, it wasn't created on a sports field. It was composed by a Māori chief named Te Rauparaha way back in the early 19th century. And the origin story is wild, literally wild. He created it right after narrowly escaping his enemies, while he was literally hiding at the bottom of a food storage pit.
And this is the famous opening chant that emerged from that incredible moment of survival. Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. When delivered with dramatic, rhythmic energy, it is spine-tingling. And what it actually translates to is a direct, poetic contrast between death and life, between despair and survival. Kamate meaning I die, and kaora meaning I live. Just imagine the sheer adrenaline, the intense gratitude of this chief bursting from his hiding spot, having totally eluded his pursuers and declaring his survival to the world. It is an expression of the rawest, most unfiltered human emotion.
So the crucial point is exactly this: resilience, not violence. That is the profound takeaway from the legend of Kamate. When you understand the story of Chief Te Rauparaha, you realize that the most famous haka in the world is ultimately a towering celebration of human survival. It's about overcoming impossible odds. It is about the resilience of the human spirit when faced with utter destruction. Knowing that entirely shatters the misconception that the haka is purely a vehicle for aggression or violence, doesn't it?
Now, of course, we absolutely cannot discuss the global fame of the haka without talking about rugby. The All Blacks, New Zealand's fiercely proud national rugby team, are entirely responsible for introducing the haka to literally millions of viewers worldwide. But here's the thing, they don't do it just to put on a show for the cameras. Before their matches, the players perform a haka as a deeply felt statement of their collective identity. It acts as this incredible unifying force for the team, and equally importantly, it is a massive sign of respect for the contest ahead and the opponents they are about to face.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really important modern dynamic, the delicate balance between entertainment and cultural visibility. The massive global platform of international sports has made Māori culture visible in corners of the globe that might never have encountered it otherwise. And let's be honest, it is thrilling to watch. But the All Blacks' performances have done something much, much more important than just entertain us. They have encouraged vital, ongoing conversations around the world about respecting cultural traditions. It forces audiences to ask questions, to look a little deeper, and to actually understand the sacredness of what they are witnessing on their screens.
And that respect is absolutely paramount. Why? Because in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the haka isn't some relic. It is a vital part of the fabric of everyday modern life. You will see hakas performed at high school and university graduations, at joyful, tear-filled weddings, and at deeply somber funerals. They take place at military ceremonies, large civic celebrations, and everyday school events. They're performed to welcome distinguished visitors. In all of these amazingly diverse settings, the haka serves as an expression of shared emotion and collective identity. It proves, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the haka is far, far more than just a sporting event.
But, a tradition this powerful only survives if it is constantly nurtured. Today, Māori communities place an immense emphasis on passing the torch. They are continuously teaching the haka, with all its deep historical and emotional significance, to the younger generations. And this isn't just about memorizing physical movements. It is a crucial method for ensuring that their language, their ancestral stories, and their fundamental traditions remain vibrant, alive, and powerful for centuries to come. It guarantees that the culture is never just frozen in time, but continues to breathe and evolve with its people. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to ponder. How will you experience the haka the next time you witness it? Whether you see it on a rugby pitch, in a documentary, or if you're lucky enough to actually visit Aotearoa and witness one in person, you now have a choice. You can shift from being just a passive observer to becoming a respectful witness. You can recognize those stomps, the gestures, the widened eyes, and the chants for what they truly are, a treasured, living heritage that connects the past, present, and future. It's not a novelty, it's certainly not an imitation. It is the beating heart of the Māori people. The haka reminds us that movement can preserve history, that voices raised together can strengthen entire communities, and that culture is absolutely most powerful when it is proudly passed from one generation to the next.
Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey to understand the true power and meaning of the haka. I hope this explainer has shifted your perspective and sparked a deeper appreciation for this remarkable cultural expression. Subscribe to Sphereblend for musical traditions, customs, and stories.